Think about the last time someone made a decision for you without asking. Maybe it was small, someone choosing the restaurant, rearranging your plans, finishing your sentences before you could. And somewhere in that moment, you felt it, that quiet tightness in your chest, that flicker of something you couldn't quite name. Now flip the script. Think about the last time you were the one doing it. Because if you're honest, really honest, there's a chance you felt something too. Something almost like relief. Something that felt, in the strangest way, like safety. That's where this conversation begins. Not with judgment, not with labels, but with the uncomfortable, deeply human truth that the desire to control others isn't just a personality flaw. It's something wired into us, something born from fear, and something that almost everyone has felt at least once in their life. We live in a world that frames control as a villain's trait. We hear it in therapy offices, in breakup stories, in the way we whisper about certain people at gatherings. They're controlling. And sometimes, yes, that word carries real weight, real damage. But what we rarely ask is why. What is it that makes someone gravitate toward that kind of power over another person? What are they actually searching for when they grip the reins so tightly? Because here's what psychology has shown us, quietly and persistently for decades. The need to control others is almost never really about the other person. It's about the controller. It's about something broken or frightened or desperately unfinished inside of them. Let's start with the brain, because the brain is where everything begins. When you feel in control, truly in control of your environment, your body releases dopamine. That's the chemical your brain uses to say, "This feels good, do it again." And here's the part that most people don't realize. That dopamine hit doesn't care whether the control is healthy or not. It doesn't judge your motives. It simply rewards the sensation of having power over an outcome. So when someone manipulates a situation, when they steer a conversation, when they quietly rearrange the lives of people around them, their brain is flooding with the same neurochemical cocktail that a surgeon feels when they complete a flawless operation. The mechanism is identical, only the ethics differ. This is why control can feel so intoxicating. It literally feels, chemically, like a reward. But dopamine alone doesn't explain the full picture. To understand why some people are drawn to controlling others more than most, you have to go back to childhood, and not in the way you might expect. Psychologists have long studied what's called attachment theory, the idea that the way we were loved, or not loved as children, becomes the blueprint for how we relate to every person we encounter afterward. Children who grew up in unpredictable environments, where love was inconsistent, where the adults around them were emotionally unavailable or volatile, learn something early and painfully clear. If I don't control what happens around me, I will be hurt. That belief doesn't disappear when you turn 18. It just puts on a more sophisticated mask. It becomes the person who needs to know exactly where their partner is at all times. The parent who micromanages every aspect of their child's life. The friend who subtly manipulates social situations so that they remain at the center. These aren't acts of malice most of the time. They are acts of survival. They are the echoes of a younger version of that person, still standing in a room that felt unsafe, still desperately trying to make the world predictable. And there's another layer here that society almost never talks about, the way control can feel like love. For some people, especially those who were never taught healthy ways to express care, controlling behavior is their version of devotion. The parent who won't let their teenager make their own choices isn't trying to suffocate them. In their mind, in the only emotional language they were ever taught, they are protecting them. The partner who decides everything isn't trying to diminish you. They are trying, clumsily and painfully, to keep you close. This doesn't make it okay, but it makes it deeply, achingly understandable. Because when you never learned that love can coexist with freedom, you build a world where the two are mutually exclusive. And if you have to choose between them, you choose the one that feels safest. You choose control. Now, here's where it gets uncomfortable, the part where we have to turn the mirror back toward ourselves. Because the truth is, the desire to control isn't reserved for a few bad people. It exists on a spectrum, and almost all of us sit somewhere on it. Have you ever refreshed someone's social media page to see if they posted something? Have you ever rearranged a plan because your version felt safer? Have you ever withheld information from someone because you didn't trust what they'd do with it? These are micro moments of control, tiny, quiet exercises of power that we rarely examine. And most of the time, they come from the same place as the more extreme versions, a fear that if we let go, something will fall apart. The difference between healthy and unhealthy control isn't the absence of that impulse, it's the awareness of it. It's noticing when you're gripping too tightly and choosing, consciously, to open your hand. The healthiest version of this instinct, when it's channeled well, actually looks like leadership. It looks like structure. It looks like someone who organizes, who plans, who steps in when chaos threatens to swallow everything. The desire to shape your environment isn't pathological on its own. It becomes dangerous only when it extends over other people's autonomy, when the need to control shifts from shaping your own life to dictating someone else's. And that shift, that quiet crossing of a line, is usually invisible to the person doing it. That's what makes it so hard to see in yourself. That's what makes it so hard to stop. So what do we do with all of this? Not with grand gestures or dramatic confrontations, but quietly, gently. We start by asking ourselves one honest question the next time we feel that familiar pull, that urge to steer, to decide, to arrange. We ask, is this about protecting them, or is this about protecting me from the fear of losing control? That question alone won't fix everything, but it cracks something open. It lets light into a room that has been locked for a long time. And for the people on the other side of it, the ones who have been controlled, who have felt that invisible hand guiding their every move, know this: it was never about your worth. It was never about your value. It was about someone else's wound, and their wound does not define you. The people who control others are not monsters. They are, in almost every case, people who are afraid of being left, afraid of being powerless, afraid of a world that has already shown them it cannot be trusted. And the most powerful thing any of us can do, whether we are the controller or the controlled, is to finally, gently stop and ask, what am I actually afraid of? Because underneath every grip, every manipulation, every quiet act of dominance, there is a person who simply never learned that they could be loved without holding on so tightly. And that, more than anything, is the truth worth sitting with tonight. So here's what I want to leave you with. The next time you see someone who needs to control, whether it's a stranger, someone close to you, or a quiet voice inside your own mind, don't just see the behavior, see the fear behind it. And if that fear is yours, don't run from it. Sit with it, because the moment you finally stop gripping is the moment you discover that the ground beneath you was solid all along.